So over the last few months, we have seen Xbox increase the price of their consoles not once, but twice, to the point where Xbox Series X's, for example, cost anywhere from $650 to $800. This is 5-year-old hardware, by the way. We're talking about their new handheld in partnership with ROG costing $1,000. We have their failed attempt to increase their first-party games to $80. They had to back away with Outer Worlds 2 and make that $70, though. That's not to say that they won't make another attempt to price their games at $80. Then you've got the lack of exclusives for the Xbox ecosystem, with Xbox basically going third-party by shipping all of their third-party games on competing platforms like PlayStation and even Nintendo. Then most recently, and among the most controversial things, is the massive price increase for their flagship service, Xbox Game Pass, anywhere from 50% to 100%, depending on what region you're in. In the US, it's 50% from $20 to $30, which makes that yearly price point of $360 much more difficult to justify, given that you're subscribing to a service where you're renting games and not really owning them. So at $360 a year, you might as well spend that money buying games that you get to access without any caveats. And then there's the fact that Game Pass actually removes some of the value from the service by removing discounts of DLCs that it once used to have. Most recently, we got reports that Xbox is working on a free version of Xbox Cloud Gaming with a caveat of you have to watch ads to engage with this service, alongside a time limit of 1 hour per session and up to 5 one-hour sessions per month, which just defeats the whole purpose of this tier. And all of that is paired with mass layoffs, with studio shutdowns, project cancellations, and just generally a mistreatment and just a misuse of the myriad companies and game development studios that they've purchased. Faith in Xbox is pretty much completely shattered at this stage. And now we're getting some new rumors that the future of Xbox might be looking murky. Now, it is important to emphasize that these are rumors. Nothing about this is in any way, shape, or form confirmed, but there are aspects of recent goings-ons that might lend some credence to these rumors, though Microsoft have responded to these rumors and basically denied them. Though how much their word actually means, that's another topic of discussion. But let's actually look at the rumors first and then talk about what its validity actually looks like. So right here we have a NeoGAF user going by the name SneakersSO. Now you might be wondering, why are we trusting some NeoGAF user when it comes to these kinds of massive rumors? Well, one thing I want to note before I actually read what he's reportedly leaking here is this statement by Tom Warren from news outlet The Verge. Tom Warren, being a pretty reliable video games journalist, he's on the bottom right here, and here's what he had to say about NeoGAF user SneakersSO.
I will say he knows a lot of what goes on internally, so I don't think he's a bad source.
Sorry, you think what?
Not a
I
bad
think he knows
source.
a lot of what.
He's a developer, isn't he? Isn't he a developer?
I don't know exactly who he is, but
I thought he was
the record's developer. Hit or miss, but not miss. Like, it's not all miss. There's plenty of hits.
So yeah, Tom Warren straight up acknowledged that SneakersSO does know a lot about the internal goings-ons of the games industry. The fact that Tom Warren went out of his way to be like, maybe there's some truth to what he's saying, lends some validity to what SneakersSO posted here. And then we'll get to the other side, which is Microsoft's denial of it. But for now, let's check out what SneakersSO has to say. Here's the full quote on what the future of Xbox looks like based on information that SneakersSO has obtained from sources as of right now. Quote, without going into much detail, not long after the last round of mass layoffs, next one should be coming in Q1 26, by the way, and it's going to be just as massive as the last one, so that's not a good sign already. Some rumblings out of Xbox starting coming out that were a little hard to believe. The ramifications of the Call of Duty Game Pass gambit not working out were just starting to get properly measured, but the thing that really stuck out to me was that suddenly really concrete plans for actual Microsoft Xbox hardware went from definitive to up in the air, which was really startling given that this thing was meant to be out relatively soon. It was one of those situations where despite folks being told, hey, we want to pull the trigger on this new Xbox hardware in 2026, the steps you need to take in the lead up to delivering a new console gen weren't being met. Lots of things that were sure things started getting pushed. The Costco retailer pulling Xbox, and apparently they're one of many that we'll learn about soon, told me all I needed to know. This is true. Costco did, in fact, stop selling Xbox consoles, as reported here by Destin back in September 25th, 2025. But more recently, on October 3rd of 2025, we learned that Costco isn't, in fact, the only retailer that is clearing out Xbox consoles from their shelves. Sam's Club seemingly has also joined in, as reported here by Cheap Ass Gamer on Twitter, saying Xbox consoles clearance sale at Sam's Club. Prices differ depending on region and location, but you can see right here, extremely low prices for Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X. I mean, we're looking at dirt cheap prices, given that now the MSRP for an Xbox Series X at the lowest price point, if you want a disk drive, is $650, or $600 if you go for the all-digital version. So yeah, Costco got rid of Xboxes, and Sam's Club is now trying to get rid of Xboxes. So that's extremely not a good look for Xbox to see their flagship console disappearing from store shelves in some major outlets, some major retailers like Costco and Sam's Club. Sneakers SO continues to sum it up. The future of Xbox is software publishing, with a significantly honed-in focus on profitable IPs. Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Minecraft, Candy Crush, Forza Horizon. They're basically taking the Sega route, is what Sneakers SO is trying to convey. Cloud gaming being the home of the Xbox platform, transitioning Game Pass into basically becoming the point of entry subscription for xCloud access. That's wild. If they drive up prices for Game Pass even further than right now, $30 a month, $360 a year for Ultimate, this is a doomed service. And releasing their software on any device that has a marketplace and users willing to buy their titles. Maybe some OEM, which stands for Original Equipment Manufacturers, like say ROG, will take up the Xbox name, similar to like the Xbox ROG Ally X. But given what is clearly a collapse in favorable mindshare and faith in said brand, I'm not even sure a third-party OEM is going to want to have an Xbox console by the time Microsoft is done with their reorienting of the division. So if there's any validity to this, that's a pretty grim outlook for the Xbox ecosystem, especially where hardware is concerned. They do own some major IPs that are going to be successful no matter what, that are too big to fail. Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Minecraft, Candy Crush, you name it. But in terms of being in a competitive space where they challenge other competitors like PlayStation and Nintendo, this is not a good look at all. And the thing is, like, Xbox going away from that particular competitive space, I don't think it's a good thing, because competition ultimately fuels everyone. It fuels other companies to be better, because it means they actually have to keep each other in check because of the fact that they have to one-up each other to draw people's attention. And so a major competitor like Xbox going away, it'd be a damn shame if that were to happen, if there is validity to this rumor and leak that Xbox is basically foregoing next generation consoles and going full software publishing. And then there's another leaker going by the name Zuby Tech, who reaffirms Sneakers SO's rumors, but also has one rumor of their own. They've apparently leaked some stuff before. They say that just like I leaked before, Xbox will move to full brand change to Microsoft Gaming. Internally, they already see themselves as Microsoft Gaming. Now they will become a full third-party publisher. They'll publish even more games on PlayStation and Nintendo. Now, I don't know how reliable Zuby Tech is, but the fact that all of these rumors are not even that hard to believe already says a lot about the current state of Xbox and the current image surrounding them. Now, Microsoft has caught wind of these rumors, and they have gone ahead and issued a statement to various news outlets, including Windows Central here, who had the following quote to provide from a Microsoft spokesperson, stating, quote, "We are actively investing in our future first-party consoles and devices designed, engineered, and built by Xbox. For more details, the community can revisit our agreement announcement with AMD." So that's a long-winded way of saying that we are working on more hardware developed internally here at Xbox, and we are partnering with AMD to that effect. And indeed, back in June of 2025, Xbox did release this video titled Xbox plus AMD Powering the Next Generation of Xbox. And this is a video where Sarah Bond came on and discussed details about that. Here's a quote from Sarah Bond that Thurrott.com archived. It reads right here, at Xbox, we're investing in our next generation hardware lineup across console, handheld, PC, cloud, and accessories. I'm thrilled to share we have established a strategic multi-year partnership with AMD to co-engineer silicon across a portfolio of devices, including our next-generation Xbox consoles, in your living room and in your hands. So look, it may very well be that these rumors have no basis and that Microsoft and Xbox are fully intent on developing the next generation of Xbox consoles, that they're still going to be in the hardware race. But it's become abundantly clear over the last few months and even years that hardware is not as big of a priority for Xbox. It's more about distributing their games to as many devices as possible through Xbox Game Pass, through their subscription models, and through xCloud, allowing their games to be played on not just, your Xboxes and PlayStations and Nintendos, but also on your laptops and tablets and smartphones and your smart TVs, you name it. And then there's the element of Xbox spokespeople and Xbox executives are just really hard to trust. It's hard to have faith in anything they say these days because consistently they've said one thing and then done something else. Recall that Xbox once said that they're all about supporting those smaller games and studios, and then they went ahead and shut down a lot of those smaller games and studios. They attempted to shut down Tango Gameworks, the developers of Hi-Fi Rush, which gave them one of the best games they've ever shipped. It won so many accolades and awards that year. They shut down The Initiative before they could ship Perfect Dark. They shut down Arcane Austin, which is a really beloved studio, among many others. This was after promising that they're all about supporting these kinds of studios, and maybe that was the intent on the part of Xbox. But the second they made these multi-billion dollar purchases like ZeniMax and Bethesda and Activision Blizzard, Sauron's eye, Microsoft's eye, paid more attention to Xbox's spending and, what they were contributing financially. And so Microsoft suddenly became a lot more involved, which forced them to essentially cost cut because Microsoft needs to appeal to investors and the stockholders, you name it. And with the Xbox business just not thriving as much as they'd like to when it comes to like hardware sales or even Xbox Game Pass subscriptions, those development studios had to go despite past promises. Then there was a promise that Xbox's first-party games, including newly acquired studios, would all remain exclusive to Xbox, that Xbox would see a lot of exclusives. But that promise quickly went away when, in recent months, Xbox has been iterating that they want to see their games come out on as many platforms as possible, including Nintendo and PlayStation. And look, while that's great for accessibility in terms of everyone being able to play Xbox games, in terms of like being invested in the Xbox ecosystem specifically, that aspect is completely devalued because like what's the point of getting an Xbox when you can play its games just anywhere else? And when Xbox consoles are priced so highly, now Xbox Game Pass is priced so highly. So yeah, that's another area where Xbox said one thing, we are going to release our first-party games exclusively on Xbox, and then they went back on that word not too long after. And then most recently, Sarah Bond stated that Xbox Game Pass is doing really well, that it made $5 billion in revenue, that it's a very sustainable service, and that it's doing just swell, right? To the point where you would assume that they have no need to increase prices so substantially. And what happens next? They increase the price of Xbox Game Pass by 50%. And that's the minimum. Here in the US, from $20 to $30 for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. For Xbox Game Pass PC, they increased it by roughly 50% and didn't add anything to it. No additional value. Again, they removed some value from Xbox Game Pass Ultimate by removing those DLC discounts. And then in some regions, it's a 100% increase, like in Brazil, where the price of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate doubled. And this was after saying that Xbox Game Pass was doing really well, which means that on some level, that is a lie. Xbox Game Pass is not doing well enough for them to be able to sustain a more affordable price point where the value of Xbox Game Pass makes more sense. Instead, they have to keep jacking up the prices because Game Pass just is probably not doing as well as they'd like. They don't have the subscriber base that they want. It's either that or Xbox Game Pass is actually doing really well and they just want even more money, which just makes them look greedy. And now they're coming out here saying that they're fully invested in the future of first-party consoles and devices designed, engineered, and built by Xbox. And I'm not here to say and confirm that they're completely and absolutely lying. What I am saying is that these days it is very difficult to take Xbox at their word because they've broken their own promises, because they've gone back on their word so many freaking times. In just the last couple of months, alone, and certainly in the last couple of years. Maybe they are telling the truth and denying those rumors and saying that they are working on next-gen consoles. But the fact that it's so easy to believe in rumors that Xbox is canceling future hardware plans goes to highlight the current optics surrounding Xbox and how much faith has truly been shattered surrounding Xbox's future as a console manufacturer and as a first-party publisher and developer. And I think a more valuable question to ask isn't whether these rumors are true, whether Xbox is or isn't making next-gen hardware. The more prescient question is it worth it for Xbox to make next-gen hardware? Is it worth it for Xbox to stick with hardware development? Their hardware is too expensive, their cadence of first-party releases, and the quality of them just isn't at the level of what Nintendo and PlayStation are outputting. And then even when those are outputted, you can play them on other platforms. They're not exclusive to Xbox anymore. The way Xbox has been handling the Xbox hardware strategy just feels like it makes the Xbox hardware pursuit completely null and void and moot. If Microsoft is planning to pursue next-gen hardware, they're going to have to make some drastic changes to their current strategy to make that justifiable and worth it, because otherwise people are going to buy their PlayStations and Nintendos, because those are consoles that are actually currently more reasonably priced and have those big exclusives they can only play on those specific hardware. And with PlayStation, while some of their stuff does come out on PC, that happens, a year or two after it first comes out on their PlayStation console, so there's still incentive to play on PlayStation. So yeah, Xbox is in a position where people are wondering why make a next-gen console at all, given their current strategy. And then on top of that, despite Microsoft's statement, people are questioning whether it's worth trusting a Microsoft statement, even if it may very well be true that they are denying the rumors and in fact working on next-gen consoles. And the fact that the existing rumors from Sneakers, SO, and other sources can be believed, is so easy to believe, highlights just what a shattered image Xbox currently holds when it comes to future viability, long-term viability, and just the overall image of the brand and the gaming community's faith in Xbox as a first-party hardware and software manufacturer. But yeah, with all said and done, nothing is confirmed. These are still rumors. Do not take these rumors as law. They're not the hardest rumors to believe, but these are big enough claims that we shouldn't just jump immediately to trust that this is 100% true until we know it is true. And ultimately, only time will tell how all this will play out. But they're not the most unbelievable rumors, which again says a lot. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the current state of Xbox and whether you think we will see a next generation of Xbox hardware, or if you think Xbox is backing out of that race and focusing on releasing their games, their biggest franchises on as many platforms as possible and going full Sega and going full third party. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.